called again?
Convincing idiots.
Convincing idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the stat man, not just anyone's opinion, the stat man Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, yo, yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got the whole poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Caucasian.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter note, question though: do you have of all these different types of time travel, content and concepts and so forth? So, if you could go back in time and change something in your life, right? But you risk.
My camera shouldn't work that well for you to see what I wrote here.
But you risk
Let's get into
missing
it.
something. You risk missing something.
Okay. Well,
That's good.
well,
We should
here's
try
the
to
thing.
change it. Go ahead.
Now, what premise are you talking about? Because in the main episode we were talking about different premises of time travel and different ways. Now, what in this premise?
It's
What
a
are you
risk.
talking about? It's a risk.
It's a risk.
Now,
It's a
are
risk.
you like in my thought? You're jumping into your own body.
Sure.
All right, so your brain jumps into your 16, 17-year-old body in high school.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with that? Say you got a fucking month pass,
Right.
but maybe the fun thing is you don't get to pick the time that you jump in. It could be a boring month that didn't mean anything. But what do you do with that? Say if nothing's going on, what do you do? Do you start calling things and going, yeah, you know that the stock market, Apple, just invest in Apple. I'd say about 97. Get in there. What do you do? I mean, do you find your write letter to yourself or go find your? Well, no. If you're in your own body, you could leave yourself notes of like, hey, this girl at this time, don't do this or don't do that. When you know what I mean? Like there's so many possibilities, but would you take that gamble? Like you said, it could fuck up something. You could definitely fuck up something, and shit. I think that is what's always fascinated me about time travel is that what if that you could fuck up your life.
Sure.
Not in a bad or good way, but like bad way as in you could all right. Good way as in you become rich. Bad way as in like you don't have your children, that you love, and your wife that you love or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The butterfly effect. I mean, what about you? Would you do it if given that I come to you, red pill, blue pill type thing? You can go back for a month, live your life. I'm going to tell you it's going to be a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
You get a month. Do you do it, or would you be too afraid of fucking up your what you have now?
I think if I was trying to change something, it would be very risky.
Sure.
And there's a lot of things that sort of most of us can say they're probably the same thing. There's a lot of things I would not want to relive through
Sure.
to get to where I am with. Just like my daughter's a great example. So
Yep.
That was a hard time in my life when she was born, and a lot of trials and tribulations to try to spend time with her, and it was very, very difficult. And it all worked itself out. And everything's fine now. But
Everything had to happen the way it happened.
that's right. So
Because if you go back and go, you go to her mom and go, you know what, I'm good. She's not there when you get back.
that's right. Yeah, your part of your life would be easier, but then certainly.
Exactly.
You're not a guarantee you would have another child with somebody else at all, let alone that would be as wonderful as your current child with a person that maybe you had a hard time with and things like that. So, I mean, to me, if anything, it might be to just you're there,
just to relive it, just
Yeah,
to
you're
enjoy
right.
the. But you also
Yeah.
would be walking on eggshells because any little thing could change and branch off to another, existence, right? A little
You're right.
timeline.
You're right. You just have to be very, very careful. But if you were just there to just sort of, you're young again for a minute and just like, hey, I'm just really appreciating this, and you just with your whatever you're doing, whether you're hanging out with your friend or friends at the time, who maybe are
But
still
again,
around, maybe they're not.
Who knows the littlest thing?
I know.
That's the gamble.
Yeah.
Would you take that gamble? I mean, I don't think there's. I mean, I guess if you're like some homeless guy, that live, they got hooked on drugs and you have nothing left. Yeah, you take that gamble. But if me, we have regular lives. Nothing spectacular besides this podcast. It's fucking global.
Of course.
I don't know that I would take that risk. Because there's a few things, my son, that you wouldn't want to fuck up, and you could,
Right.
like, you're like, oh, I'd go back and give myself the winning lottery tickets. Yeah, but if I'm rich, I'm not meeting this person at this place at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I did, I'm rich. It's not going to go the way it had to go to get to having a child.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All the things that happen to somebody, you're, at this stage, whatever, you broke up with or broke up with you, that was really, really tough at the time. And it took you a while to get over that, to get to the next one who ended that and this, and it's just all these things to learn from and all the stuff that
Everything
happens in life.
intertwines.
Right. To get to a
For a
point in your
reason.
life where, you meet the person that you're with now, and it's like you don't want to.
And it
It'd be
could
hard.
be
You don't want to risk
anything.
trading that in. Sure, that's right.
You could
Yeah.
go back and kill baby Hitler.
Mhm.
Like we said in the main podcast, you could kill baby Hitler and World War II doesn't happen. Okay?
Right.
So this person doesn't get killed in the war. So this person's born and this person meets this person. You know what I mean? There's so many variables
Mhm.
in life. So one little thing can affect you a lifetime away and thousands of miles away. So
Yeah.
you don't meet that person because her grandfather met this See, I think that is when you start getting into those intertwining possibilities up. I think that's what always enticed my brain with the whole time travel thing.
Yeah.
Because it can take you in so many levels. Yeah, you can have fun and write it to where everything cutely meshes and meets back up at the end, but in reality, it probably would be a fucked up situation.
Mhm. So let's just say then, you could go back in time and just attend and observe. You cannot impact it. You cannot change the outcome
Yep.
of this event that you're
Kind of like
observing.
I explained to you about Quantum Leap,
Mm-hmm.
where the observer, Al, goes
Mhm.
into an imaging chamber. It's a giant room, and the past holographically forms around him, and nobody can see him.
Mhm.
He's just walking around observing Sam and all he's doing. Imagine if you could develop something like that to where like you pick a time and you're standing in the ground on the stage at a Ford's Theater. Nobody sees you. You can't affect anything. You walk through things. It's all holographic, but you
Mhm.
could witness that event.
Mhm. What would you like to see?
Oh boy,
Probably a lot, of course. But just
the Kennedy
anything come to mind.
The Kennedy assassination would be one.
Just to be there and see all the chaos and what happens.
Well,
and
just to
stuff?
see what really happened. I mean, because
see.
I'm not a wild conspiracy theorist, but that is one that I do believe in, is the Kennedy assassination being not just one man.
Mhm.
And I would go in that route and go check out that to see if I'm wrong or right.
Mhm.
There was or what would you do?
There's so many historical events that'd be interesting. Like I think it'd be fascinating to watch like something at the old Coliseum, to see some type of event there, just to get a feel of something like that would be, I think, fascinating.
I mean, it'd be neat, but I mean, you probably saw a lot of things at Richfield Coliseum, and
yeah, I guess I did in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. No, the Roman Coliseum.
Yes,
I know you're joking. And then historical events like to observe the signing of the Declaration of Independence,
sure.
And some of those type of events would be fascinating. But it'd just be fun to go back and check out a particular Super Bowl, or go check out a concert. Would be amazing to see, like
Sure.
a Led Zeppelin or somebody just super iconic, Elvis Presley, all these super great musicians for over the years, to be able to go to one of his or her concerts and just observe them up there in his or her prime would just be fascinating.
In this said imaging chamber, you could be standing on stage, watching 3 feet away. You could walk through the musicians and see, and see all that.
Yeah, that'd be terrific. To be, so much stuff on a movie sets of when they're making some of these movies that we love, and people inventing things, and just all that stuff would be. There's so much.
Go see goddamn dinosaurs to see what they really look like.
Yeah.
I mean, you could fuck up a lot of things. Like, you could go back to the crucifixion of Christ, and if it didn't go down the way the church says it does, you've fucked everything. Given that anybody believed you, right? With that, there is like a conspiracy theory or rumor or story or whatever you want to call it, but that the Catholic Church has, it's a chronomizer, that a guy built back in like the, I can't remember, the 50s, 60s, let's say 60s, all right, where it's a TV window, right, type thing that can look into the past, and he can see. It's like a TV. He can pick out the crucifixion of Christ and watch it. He can pick out the Gettysburg Address and watch it. And they say the guy destroyed it, but then the also other thing is that it's in the basement of the Vatican. I mean, once again, I'm giving a very, very brief synopsis, but Google chronometer Vatican type thing, and the story will come up. It's a crazy story, but it's the same thing we're talking about, being the observer and watching, all these historical events and not having to, interrupt or change or anything.
Now, do you believe there's a lot of these, like, you see these photos sometimes?
Are you going to
put somebody,
the guy with the t-shirt and the sunglasses?
Yeah, there's just weird things that you don't know if obviously the photo could be doctored or whatever it is, but there's somebody there that shouldn't be there.
Yep.
Where they're holding something that doesn't seem like it belongs.
Google time travel stories, they're fucking amazing. Even if you don't believe them, they're still fun to watch. Like the one guy that he was detained at a Japanese, I think, or Asian airport or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it was a foreign airport. Doesn't matter. But his passport was a country that didn't exist. And he goes, guys, look at my passport. It's been stamped here and here. And he's like, country didn't exist. And he's telling the story that he's from this country that wasn't real. He told them the history of the country, and they put him up in a fucking hotel room and put guards on the thing because they didn't know what to do with this guy. Was he crazy or whatever? And they went to enter the room. The officials came to get him the next day. Gone. Stuff like that. Go on YouTube and go time travel stories. You can go down a wormhole like this, like the picture of the guy on the Canadian Bridge opening. He's wearing a screen print T-shirt that shouldn't have existed at the moment. They didn't have screen print at the time. Wearing like Oakleys, and he looked not from that time. Everybody else had the tie and the suit and the hat, and yeah.
Now, do you believe that there are time travelers out there?
I want to believe. I do. I don't know if I actually do, but I want to. I think that it's a fun thing to think about. A lot of people say that that CERN in Geneva or whatever, Switzerland, the collider, the CERN collider,
Okay.
is what is like a time travel situation. Some say that it's what causes the Mandela Effect, which we can do an episode on that or a segment on that someday. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
Nope.
the Mandela Effect. Okay, real quick, brief synopsis. There are memories, mass memories that people have that other people don't seem to have. Okay, and it's called Mandela because a lot of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison back in the 80s. And he did not.
Mhm.
He lived. He became president when he got out of prison, died, more recently than not. Okay, the children's book. They are bears, a family of bears.
Mm-hmm.
Overalls. What is the name of that book?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's the Bernstein Bears.
Okay, see? I remember it, and many, many, many people remember it as Berenstein Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, and you're right, if I find a book now, it says Berenstain Bears. I remember growing up, and I remember even making the joke, inappropriate at the time, but it being Jewish bears. So I distinctly and ever clearly remember the Berenstein Bears. Again, I'm going to give you all a homework assignment. Go in, Google Mandela Effect. And Brian, I'll send you an article on it. But there's a list of things that the Monopoly man had the monocle, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did not. Shit like that. Things that you remember, things being spelled the same way, products that actually weren't. Just memories and there's stories even out there to people, their personal stories, that didn't. Again, we could do a whole episode on it, or
Sure.
you and I can just drink at a bar and we can talk about it. The Mandela Effect is a very fun subject.
I've seen some of these now that you're talking about. It's like the Flintstones versus the Flintstones.
Correct.
All kinds of stuff, and you swear it's one way or the other. Okay,
Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, interesting stuff. One Mandela Effect was something that we had swore we did, but we did not. Was to mention our second sponsor, RPM Bike Shop, Carrollton, Ohio. If you're in the market for an electric bike, go check them out. All their information is on their Facebook page, RPM Bike Shop. RPM Bike Shop. If you're in the market for a new bike, rechargeable electric bike, ride it like a regular bike, ride it, use the electric boost to get you through some tough terrain, or to simply ride longer, whatever you need. If you're a bike enthusiast, camper, whatever, go check them out.
You're just lazy and just want to just go without having to get on a motorcycle.
That's right. And another thing I swore that we did, but maybe we didn't do it, was to announce the end of this particular episode, unfortunately. Maybe we did, just forgot. Maybe another version of us, some other timeline came back and ended the episode already.
A different variant.
Remember. Yeah, I can't remember, but I think it is time. Yes.
What I was going to wrap it up for us.
Please go right ahead.
That this has been a bit. This has been a fun side mini episode for us. So thank you guys for watching, and continue to watch us on the main show. We'll have a good time, and we'll see you. I guess when you're watching, it'll be next week. I don't know. Again, time's funny, isn't it? So until next time, I've been Dean.
I'm Brian.
See you in another time in another place.
Very good.